Let's jitty jitty bang bang. This morning, I was thinking in the car, as one does, and like, it was absolutely silent. No music, no people in the road, nothing. And all of a sudden, I remembered the day I became a bitch. I don't know what is my fascination with this, like, whole bitchiness in me. But I remember the day I became a bitch. It was this time last year, just about a little earlier, and I was on my way to Texas to visit my brother and my sister-in-law. And when I got on the plane, I was sitting in the middle seat because we were flying cheap as hell, let me tell you. But anyway, I got assigned to the middle seat between two strangers, and the girl to my right, very lovely little lady. Guy to my left, can't say he's a lovely man. No. But anywho, I get sat in the middle. And as I'm being, a human on an airplane with strangers and trying my best to be thoughtful and considerate of said neighbors and my surroundings, my neighbor to my left, closest to the window seat, proceeds to stretch out and put both of his grubby little elbows as far out as he possibly could, with one of the said elbows interfering with my armrest in my personal space. And I looked at him, I looked at my space, and I looked at him, and I thought, do I really want to suffer however many hours this trip is? Because to be honest, that whole trip was traumatizing. Do I really want to suffer this entire time? Or do I want to see something, say something? And I took the opportunity to see something, say something. So I looked at him and I said, hi, friend. And he ignored me. Cool, we're not friends. And I said, hi, sir. Ignored me. And then finally, I poked him. I try not to get into people's personal space, but I decided to poke him since I guess maybe his ears don't work and the things between them either, but I digress. So I poked him and he goes, what? And I said, hi, have you flown before? And he says, yes, I have. And I said, good. So then you're familiar with the rules. And he goes, what rules? And I said, oh, well, the way it goes is whoever sits at the window seat gets the privilege of looking out the window, the privilege of having no one to their side, the privilege of being able to control whether that window goes up or that window goes down. Benefits. The benefits of sitting on the aisle seat is also independence. They get a little freedom on one side. They also get the freedom to get up as they please because they will not be affecting anybody. They also get first dibs when it comes to leaving. So that's one of their privileges. In the middle, very, very few benefits. But you know what they do get? Both armrests. That is their only benefit. If they're going to be sandwiched in between two disgusting, ugly, potentially, because the girl to my right was actually quite lovely, potentially disgusting air flighters, then the least you can do is give them the armrests. The least. That's just standard protocol. And he said, I've never heard of that. And I said, cool. So you now have two options. You can choose to adhere to said rules, and then everybody's enjoying their stress-free life. Or you can choose to not follow the social norms, which is completely your choice, no problem. But you are setting yourself up for an incredibly awkward and very touchy-feely couple of hours. The choice is yours. And he proceeded to then not touch the armrest, and I had freedom to both armrests. The girl to my right, giggling. The girl to my right was giggling. I did leave her a note for being lovely, and I let her know that her sense of humor will get her very far in life. But that's just the standard rules. That was also the day I learned I need to learn to stand up for myself or I'm going to be miserable. And I felt mighty powerful because normally that much confrontation would make me shake in my boots and then I would be stuck in that situation. But that guy didn't deserve kindness. That guy didn't deserve my respect because he was an absolute menace, truly. And not just, for taking over the armrest, but just his attitude and his entitlement and his ugliness, his internal ugliness. So that was the day a bitch was born. That was the day. And I've never looked back. I've never truly looked back, and I don't really know how to make it better. I like being direct. I like being I don't know. I like being heard. Because ultimately, I gave that man the decision to do whatever the hell he wanted, but I made it seem as if no matter what you do, I know what the outcome is, and it makes me feel like I'm somewhat in control of it. I just felt heard, which in turn made me feel powerful. Like a bitch. I also recognize that every time I speak on the theme of bitchiness, YouTube decides to keep things pretty quiet. But anyway, I should look at that day with shame, right? I feel like like a normal person would look at that day and be like, ooh, you shouldn't have done that. I look at that day with so much pride because you don't understand. Before that, such a people pleaser, such a go with the flow, not even go with the flow, because garbage on that. I would pretend, right? I would try to be nonchalant, as the youngins say. But I'm very chalant, okay? I would remain quiet at the expense of myself just to make everybody else around me more comfortable or happy, or not to disturb social norms or social clubs or create any ripples. But anytime I've ever done that, it has never worked out in my favor. I've either gotten like, it's never worked out in my favor. It just never worked out in my favor. Now that I'm being a little bitchier, my reputation has taken a tank in some regards, while simultaneously I've seen results, and it's hard not to correlate results with my bitchiness. Because some may argue it had nothing to do with it, but I feel like balls got rolling because I got bitchy. People started thinking because I got bitchy. The moment I challenged them, which to anybody else's definition, I'm being a bitch, being argumentative, I'm being difficult, I'm being sarcastic, I'm being manipulative, I'm being, which I'm not. I'm just being honest, and I'm being direct, and I'm tired of being stepped on, and I'm tired of being lied to, and I'm tired of being breadcrumbed. I'm tired of being love bombed. I'm tired of being, I just want honesty. I just want consistency, and I just want transparency. That's it. That's it. Let me decide how I move forward, because I'm going to, unfortunately for me, find out one way or another, whether it's intuition, if we want to rely on God again and say it's the Holy Spirit, or discernment, or what have you. If you want to say that the age-old what you do in the dark comes to light, what the frick frack ever, I'm going to find out, and I'm going to react. So why delay the reaction? Why not allow me to have a choice in the matter? And I just realized that me being a fair bitch, I do give people choices in the matter. I'm giving you the option to do things my way, or I'm letting you know that if you proceed in doing things your way, I'm also not going to be happy about it, and everyone's going to suffer. And I think that's just being fair. And I think that's just being fair, because otherwise, is it fair for me to be squished like this just because I don't have money? Because I don't have money to pick the seat I want, I deserve to be squished like this? No. Everyone deserves to be comfortable in some way, shape, or form. I think. At least in this situation, or most situations. I don't know about political. I don't know if you can do that. But at least in my situation, if there is a way for everybody to eat, let everybody eat. Now, I think it would have been selfish for me to be like, hey, let's switch seats. I'm a girl, therefore let me switch. Or I'm poor, let me switch. Or I'm tired, let me switch. I feel sick, or this is my first time flying, or whatever excuse I want to use. And then truly demand a change. But I just want to let everybody eat. Minimal ripple. Move your freaking arm. You're making it sound like I'm asking you to sit on the wing of the airplane. No. Not. Just want you to move your arm from here to here. That's it. I don't know what the point of this video was. I hope somebody can find the thread. I don't remember the last hypothetical question I asked myself that brought me on to that. But that was the day a bitch was born. And I'm okay with that. A lot of people are not okay with that because they miss the people pleaser side of me. They miss getting what they wanted out of me. And now that they don't get what they want out of me, I'm suddenly a bitch. I'm suddenly mean. I'm suddenly two-faced. But I know in my heart of hearts, I'm none of those things. I'm just honest. And I understand that honesty without tact is cruel. So I try my best to breathe and count to 10 and choose my words wisely and consider what I'm going to say before I say it. So yeah. So by the time I resort to being a bitch, yeah, I am honest to God. Trust me, best believe. I considered all the chess pieces, and by the time I moved my chess piece, I meant it. And I'm starting to wonder, I wonder if this YouTube channel, the whole purpose of it is me convincing myself that it's okay to be me, and in being me, it's okay to be a bitch. Like, I'm actively convincing myself that it's okay to be a little mean. And by being a little mean, I mean it's okay to stand up for yourself. And it might feel uncomfortable, but that's okay. Yeah. Well, that's the end of this video. I don't know what you can glean from it, but I hope you do. Thank you for watching. If you like this video at all, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, all of that good jazz. Know that I love you with all of my heart, and I will catch you in the next video. Mwah.